Hi everyone, my name is Brandon Bales. Thank you for the time to present information on developing a public relations plan for school success. Throughout the course of this presentation, I will identify the value of creating a public relations plan, identify school stakeholders and their impact on the success of the public relations plan, as well as show how to handle public relations in a time of crisis. Finally, I will offer quick tips to begin developing a public relations plan for your school. To start off, let's look at the importance of developing a public relations plan. According to Moore, public relations, as its name implies, is also about relationships. Make a systematic effort to build relationships with school stakeholders that include participation in the decision-making process as well as to inform. By making the sustained effort, positive relationships between schools and stakeholders can be formed. So who are school stakeholders? First, I'm going to speak about internal groups. Internal groups include students and staff. As a school administrator, you should build positive morale and make systematic efforts to maintain morale with internal school stakeholders. How do you do this? Pay attention to their needs. Celebrate the small stuff. Keep a glass half full mentality. And remember, there's no I in team. By doing this, you are fostering internal relations. Additionally, be aware of undercurrents of disconnect. You can do this through the utilization of anonymous surveys. When you use an anonymous survey, analyze the data, acknowledge issues, and come up with a plan to address issues with school stakeholder input. In closing, when developing a public relations plan internally, remember to create an environment where staff and students feel that their concerns are heard and that they have a voice in the decision-making process. The next group I'm going to discuss is that of external groups. External groups include parents and the community. In building relationships with external groups, a school administrator must understand that this group will be harder to form the stronger relationships with. External relationships take time and systematic efforts by school administration and school staff. By putting the effort in, over time, trust can be built between the school and external groups. How do you build trust? Communicate reliably. Develop a communication plan and stick to it. Be visible within the community. Participate in community events outside school hours, such as athletic events, handing out flyers at school events, or renting booth space at community events. Also, go above and beyond, and the message will get out. An example of this comes from Scott Phillips, principal of Eagle Ridge Middle School. Over the summer, a student passed away who had been battling a long illness. Mr. Phillips, being the new administrator, did not know this student. Understanding the grieving process, he opened the school's gymnasium as a place for students, parents, staff, and community members to come together to grieve. He discussed during a personal interview, all he was able to do in this time was to gather a grieving community together for a chance to take solace with one another and celebrate that student's life. By doing this, Mr. Phillip displayed the ability to be a human and bridge the gap between school and community and forge positive relationships in the time of crisis. In looking at how to handle a crisis, it is important to have a plan in place. Additionally, internal and external groups can help a school weather a crisis. When developing a crisis management plan, an administrator should keep these few things in mind. Don't shut down. Make sure you are communicating with school stakeholders, the district, and the media. Also, remember, there's never a time for a no comment. Additionally, always maintain confidentiality. And face-to-face communication during a time of crisis is essential to help maintaining the relationships that have already been built. The last group that I want to speak to in regard to public relations is the media. In working with the media, recognize that building positive relationships with them is essential to a school's public relations plan success. Work with the media to get your message out. You can do this by inviting the media into the schools for celebration and events. Also, remember to be honest in your dealings with the media. Don't lie or give unconfirmed information. If unsure of a comment, let them know that information is still coming in and updates will follow. By doing this, you can avoid negative perceptions. Finally, as I've mentioned before, remember, a no comment is never a no comment. Now that I've identified key groups to your public relations plan and given you some ideas on how to include them in your plan, it is now time to give you some quick start tips to help you begin drafting a public relations plan for your school. So, first things first, follow guidelines within your district in the development of your plan. District policy should be followed and adopted to meet the needs of your school. Next, be consistent with your message. Make sure your vision aligns to your district's. Also, ensure that staff, students, parents, and the community are all up to date on your message. Next, be realistic about your PR plan. Know who to include and resources needed to create a successful plan. By being realistic, you can start with what you can handle in the beginning. Pick a medium that you will utilize frequently to get your message across. Whether a newsletter, school webpage, or social media platform, understand that these will need to be updated consistently and focus on getting information to stakeholders in a timely and accurate manner. Next, remember the value of personal communication. While email and web pages are great at getting out information quickly, phone calls and face-to-face meetings go a long way to building what Principal Phillips calls positive equity. Positive equity is the trust that has been developed and maintained through efforts of both internal and external school stakeholders. By building positive equity, schools are developing positive relationships for future success of the students. Thank you again for taking the time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.